4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City. A fusion of politics, commentary, entertainment, and sports. Steve and his team bring you the latest news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, so LeBron James announcing today that he's coming home. He posted a picture on Instagram of him in a Cavaliers uniform, and it had on it, I'm coming home. He wrote a letter to the world for Sports Illustrated, where he talked about how he wants to come home, how Cleveland is where he belongs. He grew up there, he laughed there, he cried there. He also left there 4 years ago, and they didn't take too kindly to that in Cleveland, and they're not taking too kindly to it in Miami, I would imagine. Although, you know, maybe some of the fans expected it from a man who did leave his hometown to go to Miami. I just don't think it's really good for his legacy. I know it's all about money, but this guy is going to make millions and millions and millions and millions. He already has. Will keep on making it, not only through basketball, but through, you know, the advertisements and endorsements and commercials. So to me, the money is going to be the same wherever you want to be. There's something to be said for going home, absolutely. But he makes people despise him. He made Cleveland despise him when he left. Now he's made Miami despise him for leaving. All right, Matt Salmon joins us, member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. But first, this little ditty.
You know, Jay Johnson has now visited, at my direction, the border 5 times. He's going for a 6th this week. He then comes back and reports to me extensively on everything that's taking place. So there's nothing that is taking place down there that I am not intimately aware of and briefed on. This isn't theater. This is a problem. I'm not interested in photo ops. I'm interested in solving a problem.
Well, we'll get to the not being interested in photo ops in a little while, but joining us now, as promised, is Congressman Matt Salmon, Republican from Arizona, member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Hello, Congressman.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I got to tell you, you know, that it's not reassuring enough for some, and certainly I know not for you. Talk about what you are proposing that gets done to get these kids back home.
Well, first of all, let me just comment, you know, on the president's remarks on photo ops. The photo ops at the golf course really don't sell anybody, and that's the only place he really shows up much and does anything. The fact is, the president has been derelict in his duty on enforcing the border, and because of his lax policies and catch and release policies, it has sent a strong message across the world, and especially to Central America, that if you get to America, you're going to be able to get amnesty under this president. And we're doing everything we can to try to stem that tide. But if the president would simply enforce the laws that are on the books, it would go a long way. He did point out correctly that there is a law that was passed in 2008. Actually, it was reestablished in 2008. Coincidentally enough, Senator Joe Biden was the sponsor of the bill, but it was a human trafficking law.
Right.
And it requires that any minor, any unaccompanied minor, not from a country contiguous to the United States, that would be everything but Mexico and Canada, is required to have a hearing. And those hearings are taking up to 3-5 years, 3 to 5 years. And so we have got to fix that law. And I just dropped a bill yesterday. Got a bunch of co-sponsors today. It's catching a lot of steam. Charles Krauthammer just editorialized about the same idea today, and that is fix the law so that these other countries that these children do not get a guarantee of these hearings, so that the Border Patrol agent has the flexibility to determine whether or not he truly believes that this is an asylum case, that this unaccompanied minor, and by the way, most of them are teenagers, whether or not they should have a hearing. And most of them will be repatriated right back to their country of origin immediately.
But Congressman, if I'm correct, yesterday, first of all, that should take in this kind of a situation, you think that's what the president would be calling for, and you would think this would have been done yesterday or by tomorrow, by the weekend. But instead, Harry Reid, I'm sure at the behest of the president, has said, no, we're not bringing this up in the Senate. We're not going to change the law. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to change the law. So what possible reason could they have for not wanting to change or adjust the law unless they want these kids to stay?
They got to at least get the same talking points going, because the president on June 30th said he wanted a change in the law. And now these guys, you talk about the Keystone Cops. They need to get on the same sheet of music and sing in harmony. The fact is, the change in the law is needed. The president acknowledged that and asked for it on June 30th, and they need to be responsive. And if they don't want to fix the crisis, then, let them go out to the public and say they don't want to fix the crisis. But this would go a long way. In fact, if this bill is passed and the law is changed, much of that money that the president's asking for is not even needed.
Right, but then, of course, skeptics would say then he couldn't, I think Ted Post said it was a payoff to the folks at La Raza and elsewhere, hiring attorneys and, all that kind of stuff.
It's the Attorney Full Employment Act. That's what he wants to pass.
It's not funny, but you're absolutely right. Now, this president could also, as he has done on so many occasions, and he's being sued for this, he could just say, we're not going to enforce the law.
Of course.
That was passed in 2008.
His pen and his phone only extended to the things he wants to, break laws on. The fact is, he has plenty of laws that he could actually be within the guidelines if he did those things would stem the tide. But he's not even doing that. And so there is a lot of hypocrisy coming out of the White House, surprise, surprise. But the fact is, we need to take away that excuse from him and give him what he asked for on June 30th, the ability to have his CBP officers send these children back immediately. And that will be a deterrent. And if we don't do this, those waves of teenagers are going to keep coming and coming and coming, and many more will die in the desert, and many more will be sexually abused along the way, and many more will, be sold into prostitution. And the president is trying to spin this that the compassionate thing to do is now to figure out a way to keep them here indefinitely. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying, when nothing could be further from the truth. These kids are being harmed by the coyotes and the cartels that are transporting them, and we can stop that from happening by sending a clear message through our actions, not through our rhetoric, that things are changing, and they're changing now. When they get here, they're going to be sent back, and all that money that you gave the coyotes to transport those teenagers across the border, it's going to be wasted.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. And there's a terrible situation going on in Mexico involving, of course, Marine Sergeant Andrew Tahmooressi. He was in court the other day, ordered back to prison. I know that you've been outspoken about this and very concerned about this. Is the president doing enough? Is our administration doing enough?
No, he's not doing anything. In fact, I have visited Andrew now twice in that prison in Tecate, Mexico. And, I've done everything that I possibly can to date. Maybe we'll scratch our heads and try to figure out other things that we can do. But if the president would have brought this up with the president of Mexico a couple weeks ago when he was talking to him about multiple issues between our two countries, if he would have brought it up, that Andrew would be home by now.
It's very sad. I mean, it's insane. And the way they had him tied to the bed, chained to the bed at the beginning, and
right.
For all the world to see, how disgraceful. And this is an ally.
Well, what's so hypocritical about what the president says? When he got the young man out of Afghanistan,
yeah.
He was saying that his responsibility as commander-in-chief is to make sure that no soldier is left behind. Well, what about this one?
Yeah.
He's a hero. No, and nobody has questioned his commitment to the country or his commitment to his job in the military. This young man served 2 honorable tours in Afghanistan, was promoted in theater, and he's an American hero. He has saved lives, and this is one that the president needs to make sure he doesn't leave behind. But apparently that doesn't extend to him.
Well, maybe his mother should say that Gitmo should be closed, and that the death of every Afghan will be avenged, and then say Allah, and maybe they'll let him go.
There you go.
Let me ask you one more thing in your capacity in the Foreign Affairs Committee. How much longer is this government going to support a unity government with Hamas while they're at war with Israel?
You're right. I mean, it's very, very stupid that we've got the president over there temporarily saying that he's on Israel's side and telling Israel to show restraint. And I mean, it's incredibly stupid. Israel is the only friend that we have in that region, as far as I'm concerned, the only real friend that we can count on. And we need to make sure that we do everything to crush and stop dead in their tracks every one of these militant organizations, whether it be Hamas, whether it be the Al Qaeda.
ISIS,
we need to do everything we can to make sure that we stand up, to these thugs. And this president has sent mixed messages time and time and time again on the negotiations with Iraq, with Iran on the nuclear, timetable. And every time, it's the same message. It is just, we don't stand for anything. And let me just put a plug in. This election in November is probably the most important one of our lives. We have an opportunity to send Harry Reid packing and take away the president's agenda for the last 2 years of his administration. And I believe, if the Americans rise to the occasion, we can get this country back.
Very well said, Congressman. Thank you for your time and your hard work, and we'll speak to you again, sir.
All right, thank you.
Take care. Congressman Matt Salmon, ladies and gentlemen, covered a lot of ground there, and it's incumbent upon us to cover it even some more, and we will, with the Malzberg panel, when we return right here, Friday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax Television.